This is a Photoshop tutorial, and we'll be covering some of the basics and some of the advanced options in Photoshop. First of all, let's get started with let's take a look at layers. Layers are how I relate to them. I remember the old biology books that had the human anatomy in it, and it had the transparent pages with the different parts of the body. That's kind of how I can kind of explain how I view layers. So if you look to the right in the layers palette here, if you notice there's a little lock there, and if I grab the move tool, it won't allow me to move anything in that layer. Just double click on the layer and click OK. Let's cancel that. Or you can grab the lock and drag it to the trash can. Alright, so let's just double click and click OK. Let's do it that way. Now when I take the move tool, I can move the image. Edit, undo, move. Now if I want to add a new layer, basically all I have to do is just click the create new layer button at the bottom, and there's your new layer. Now right now there's nothing in that layer. Let's maybe dump a color in there. Let's just select maybe a blue color here. Let's do that. And I'm going to fill it with the paint bucket. So I've got this layer 1 selected, and when I dump the paint in, it fills that layer. Okay. Now if I wanted to, say for instance, put a text over that layer, first of all let's click the text tool. Let's change the color. Let's do maybe red, I guess. Maybe a burgundy. Let's do a burgundy. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, and let's just type a text in here first. Beauty first. Okay. And let's choose another font. You do that just by selecting that, and let's go up here to the font. Let's choose something different. Okay. And you can also just select the text, the font itself right there in the text, and scroll down with the arrow key and notice how the font changes. Let's pick a different color so you can see it change here. Let's select a different color here. Let's do a white. And let's click OK. Alright, now you can see the text. Alrighty, now because the text is selected, just select the text in the text editor up top, and just select the down arrow key, and you can just scroll through and select whatever you like. Select a different, select a font here that I like. Okay, we'll just select Carrier New, and you can change the size of the font just by selecting the font tool up here. Let's change that to a little bit too big. Let's do 30. And let's take the move tool and move it over. Now we can't see the lady that we had in the layers palette here, and the reason being is because layer 1 is on top of layer 0, and that's actually blocking her out. So if you click the little small eye here, then you see the lady. And that's how layers work. the layers that are on top or the layers that are above the image of the woman. So, and also you can actually filter the color out if you want. Right here where it says normal, you can select that, or you can just go down the list and select if you know what type of filter you would like, or you can, if you don't know, you can basically just select it and do just as we did with the text tool, and the down arrow key, it allows you to filter that out. So, and that's how that works. It looks pretty good. So take advantage of using the filters that are actually built right into the layers. Alrighty, let's look at something else. Also, while you're in the layers palette, there's a opacity option here where you can just select the opacity of that particular layer, and you can fade it out or fade it all the way out, or just tone it down a little bit where it's not as blue. Okay. Now, this other fill option here, it does the same thing. If I change it, I can just get rid of it altogether. And what that's for, it's for like text or shapes that you have like a outline around, and you can fade the outline, or you can fade the inside of it and leave the outline, which would make the text look hollow, or something like that, or the object look hollow. So let's take a look at that right quick. How this works is, say for instance I draw a shape. Let's just select the shape, and let's keep this polygon here, and let's draw it right over the eye here. And I'm going to select the move tool to move it, and then go back to the layers palette, right click over to the right of where it says shape 1, right click there, and then go down to blending options, and then the blending options window comes up, and then select stroke and then highlight it, and you can actually change the size of the stroke. So the more you move it to the right, the bigger it gets. So I'm going to just stay with 9, and let's click OK. Now go back to the layers palette, and if you notice where it says fill, that's the inside color, so it's filling the inside of the stroke. Okay, and if you wanted to fade all of that, just select the opacity, and it'll fade everything. And I believe that's going to be helpful, because it took me a while to figure that one out when I first started using well, when Photoshop first came out with that double, with that opacity and the fill underneath it. The opacity has always been there, and the fill was one of the things that they added, I guess, a few versions ago. So, all right, and that's how you manipulate the opacity and the fill. That's the difference between the two. Okay. And remember, always be mindful of what layers are doing. You can minimize that also. You can minimize the FX, the blending options that you have on that object, just by clicking this arrow here, and you can turn those features off too. Okay, well, you can turn all of them off, and that's how that works. So I hope you're grasping this. So let's highlight that again. All right, it's back on. Okay, and minimize this. Now, just to reiterate on layers, because that's the most important thing to me in Photoshop, is just having the ability to use and to understand layers is going to be the most important thing you can learn. So just a quick look at how you can manipulate them. Let's look at the text here. If I select the text and I drag it underneath the blue layer there, it's still showing through because I have a filter on the blue section. But if I go up and I change that to normal and increase the opacity and put everything back, then you don't see it, because the beauty layer, the beauty first text, and the woman are underneath the blue layer, if that makes any sense. So let's slide it back up and put it on top, and there it is. And you can move these layers up and down just by clicking and dragging them wherever you want them. So that's a look at some of the Photoshop basic with layers and filters and shapes. So feel free to send me some feedback. I hope you liked the tutorial. Happy Photoshopping, and take care.